So, I recently happened across this game called Magical Drop 3 for the NeoGeo arcade machines. It's a puzzle-based game based entirely around the theme of the tarot deck, with the balls you rearrange being based on the suits of the minor arcana of sword, star, cup, and wand, which are still seen today in modern card games as spade, diamond, heart, and club suits respectively. Before you play the game itself, you have to choose a character to be displayed in the background on your side of the screen. Every playable character in this game is based on the tarot deck's trump cards, also known as the major arcana. Today I'll be analyzing these characters based on how their visual design and character are portrayed in comparison to the source material, specifically the Rider-Waite tarot deck. Keep in mind, this is based on what little I know of the series and by checking the wiki. And this review is going to focus specifically on the designs in this game, none of the other ones in the series. There are typically 22 cards in the Major Arcana deck, cards labeled 1 to 21, and a special card. We'll be going in numerical order here, just to keep things simple. Let's start with this special card, since it's usually considered the starting point along with the Major Arcana. This card is the Fool. It's a special card because unlike the rest of the tarot cards, it has no number, or if it does, it's depicted as number 0. The Fool usually represents the beginning of a long journey, as well as the innocence and naivety present at the time. The Fool is usually depicted as a child, sometimes two, usually accompanied by a cat or a dog. In this case, it's the former. I'd say, looking at the character in the game, they stuck pretty close to the source material. The Fool in this game definitely looks like a kid, and he's carrying a cat in his arms. And the way his face is drawn, you can tell he's got a simple man, simple pleasures mindset that young kids tend to have. He even acts childish, almost to the point of being cartoony, even by cartoon standards, if that makes any sense. So yeah, I'd say this one fits the bill, but you can tell they also took some liberties with the design, trying to make his outfit look more fantastical. The next character we'll be looking at is the first numbered card, card number 1, the Magician. This card represents mechanical and scientific knowledge. What I mean by that is that, like a scientist, the Magician has the ability to break things down to its most basic principles to understand how it works. The best example would be if you gave the Magician a machine and you took it apart. Chances are, by using deductive reasoning, analysis, and an understanding of how it should work, he's among the most likely to be able to put it back together in working order. As far as the design is concerned, you can tell they pretty much lifted it directly from the card itself. The clothes, the headband, even the hairdo and the infinity symbol. They kinda cheaped out on this one, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's a simple design, but it leaves room to focus on the personality and capabilities of the Magician, who is very cunning and intelligent, but can sometimes come across as a know-it-all. And you can even see it in his starting pose. He's got his hand to his chin as if to say, "Hell yeah, I'm good-looking and smart. What you gonna do about that?" It comes off as confidence, based on his intellect, which is very fitting for the card he represents. Next is the High Priestess, card number 2. While the Magician is symbolic for knowledge and mechanical understanding, the High Priestess represents wisdom. She represents the understanding of morals and conscience, and is usually depicted displaying a scroll, which some depictions explain to be the Torah, or the Jewish written law. Now, for her in-game design, they took quite a few liberties here, especially with the costume. But the biggest difference is that she's carrying a regular book instead of a full-on scroll. I assume that's mainly an aesthetic choice for the sake of the game's cute and cartoonish charm. Sometimes keeping things simple helps in that regard. So while it's somewhat different from the source material, I'd say it's for the best in this case. Card number 3 is the... Whoa... Mama. Card number 3 is the Empress. The Empress is supposed to be the mother figure, representing authority through love and compassion. It basically symbolizes everything female and... okay, sorry. I can't concentrate without addressing the elephant in the room. She's dressed like a freaking dominatrix from an episode of Power Rangers, and she even has a whip. What the hell? Actually, this is for the context of the game series. Apparently in the second game, villain called Black Piero used magic to brainwash her and turn her evil. I suppose these clothes are meant to represent the more sexual aspect of the Empress's symbolism, to represent fertility. In her victory pose, at least, she's dressed more like an actual queen, like in the card. And there you can see she also has a gentle face to reflect her more compassionate nature. So I'd say this version of her is actually pretty accurate. Card number 4 is the Emperor. No, not that Emperor! While the Empress is the mother figure representing love and compassion, the Emperor is the father figure representing discipline and leadership. Look at this guy in the game. Look at him. Just a single passing glance can tell you he's not just a king, but also a complete asshole. Those shifty eyes, that snarky posture, the Bruce Campbell chin, the snidely whiplash lip fuzz. He looks like the kind of guy who'd see you mopping the floor and be like, "Excuse me, sir, do you mind using the mop to wipe off my shoe? I was tracking mud on my way here and... Oh, I'm sorry. Did I track mud where you were mopping?" This guy's an asshole. This is all the evidence you need. Moving on. Card number 5 is the Hierophant. Some versions of the tarot deck have this card renamed as the Pope. If the Empress is authority through love, and the Emperor is authority through rank, the Hierophant is authority through faith, representing the spiritual beliefs of oneself. As far as the endgame design, there's actually not that much to say. He's wearing a fairly stylized version of priest's robes and a bishop's hat, but otherwise the design is actually pretty simple. He does seem a little young to be Pope, though. Don't popes usually start that rank in their 50s or 60s? Next in line is card number 6, the Lovers. Symbolized by a man and a woman, it represents interpersonal relationships, both platonic and intimate, though usually the latter. So what the fuck is this? I mean, seriously, what the fuck does this have to do with the Lovers? It's a little girl and a pig! The only possible way I can see this representing the Lovers card is if this is some third-wave feminist anti-patriarchy bullshit saying that women are so small, delicate, and innocent, and men are nothing more than fat, sweaty, disgusting pigs. And even then, that's stretching it. The heart-shaped hair ties on the girl and the forehead marking on the pig don't save this design. Couldn't they have just shown a boy and a girl holding hands and dancing or something? F-, see me after class. Sorry, that particular design choice just really bothers me. It makes no sense. Moving on. Now we have one of my favorite character designs in the game. Card number 7, the Chariot. The most common depiction is of a Roman soldier driving a chariot, but instead of being pulled by horses, it's pulled by lions, which is actually pretty fucking awesome. The chariot represents aggression, victory, and being proactive. As for the character in the game, I gotta say, his design looks pretty fucking sweet. He's dressed like the Roman soldier, complete with a spear as a prop. And while they don't show him riding an actual chariot pulled by lions, which in itself is pretty fucking awesome, they do still manage to incorporate the lion motif in by putting a shape of a lion's head onto the character's helmet. And it can even emote depending on the mood of its wearer. Because magic, I guess? All in all, a really solid design that sticks pretty close to the source material while still being its own thing. I actually really like it. Next up is card number 8, Strength. And card number 8, Strength. Okay, more game story context here. The big guy covered in muscle and scars is Strength the Father. The little girl in the tattered old shirt and the infinity symbol on it is Strength the Daughter, also known as Strength 2. Anyway, Strength is the tarot card symbolizing will, bravery, and the heart to overcome challenges. In some other decks, it's renamed as Fortitude. Strength depicts a young woman gently placing her hand on top of the head of a savage lion. A symbol representing infinity usually appears over her head, symbolizing that her will and resolve to overcome any obstacle is unmatched. Now, these are two separate characters, so let's review them separately. Starting with Strength the Father. He's obviously based on the stereotypical meaning of the word strength. He's big, he's tough, he's covered in muscles and scars. You can't look at him and not think, holy shit, this guy looks fucking strong. If I piss him off, he'll literally bash my head in so hard it caves in on itself. It's a simple but effective design. And as the saying goes, simplicity is power. Next is Strength the Daughter, who more closely resembles the tarot card itself. She's a young, tomboyish-looking girl, wearing a menacing, I'm gonna beat the crap out of you expression. Though, unlike her father, the expression doesn't quite pull off the same effect for her. I mean, look at her, she's just too cute! So, what does the lion depicted have to do with the character? It's in her win pose. When she wins, she ducks down, comes back up riding bareback on a lion, and they both roar in triumph. Taking that into consideration, I'd say this design did the job of sticking to the source material while, again, still being its own thing. As for these two characters representing the same card, I think it's a nice little nod to how different people view the concept of strength. For such a simple sounding card, this one is actually pretty complex and has a lot of depth if you're willing to dig enough for it to be seen. Also of note, in some decks, card number 8, Strength, is switched with card number 11, Justice. For the sake of it makes more sense this way, I'm sticking with the Rider-Waite order, which keeps Strength as card number 8. Our next card on the list is number 9, the Hermit. The Hermit is depicted as a wrinkled old man carrying a lantern and sometimes a staff, with the card representing age and personal experience. The Hermit usually understands and remembers all his knowledge and wisdom up to this point in the journey, and takes it into account for his everyday life in order to exercise caution. As far as the character design is concerned, well, he's definitely an old man. He's got some really wicked eyebrows, though. Either he's related to Dr. Wily from the Mega Man games or Master Roshi from Dragon Ball Z. In some of his reactions to pulling off a good combo, it shows that the Hermit is a master of magic, even more so than the Magician. And using his abilities to the fullest, he knows damn well he can kick your ass if you damn whippersnappers ever so much as step on his lawn. Once again, the design is simple, but it's made so that the character's capabilities and personality shine through. And finally, for this half of the journey, we end on card number 10, the Wheel of Fortune, or just Fortune for short. Its meaning is actually rather straightforward, representing the uncertain nature of fate and how fickle it can be when it comes to whether or not events are in one's favor. Guess the game show of the same name suddenly makes a whole lot more sense, eh? As far as the character is concerned, Luck is indeed a lady here, but she doesn't look like a very friendly one. She's got that glowering stare, as if you say, "You're an interesting person. I have yet to determine if that's a good or a bad thing. Pay me under the table and I'll make my decision more certainly." She's also got that witchy hairdo. If anything, I can see her making a cameo as a villain from Sailor Moon. They had a lot of gimmicks in that show. I wouldn't be surprised if she showed up with a chance wheel to spin and determine the Sailor Scout's fate. Steal souls right off the bat? Drain energy slowly and sadistically? Outright kill you? Let's spin the wheel and see how you end up. Like, seriously, am I the only one who thinks that she wouldn't look out of place at all in that show? That's a lot of reviewing. And we're only halfway there. I think I need a break. Well, that'll be it for now. Tune in next time when I cover the second half of the Major Arcana. Until then, this is Silver, telling you to stay silver.